Welcome back. I'm Carly from Soundsight Studios. Today, we're going to take a 78 card tarot deck tour with the Light Seers Tarot. Let's dive in. All right, let's get started with the major arcana. The Fool has some beautiful geometry that's happening in the water underneath her, and she's taking a trust fall. Great representation of that free spirit, ready for adventure, ready to see what the universe has for her. The Magician keeps some of the traditional symbols with our infinity sign on his hoodie, and then we can see him creating something in this beautiful water that's underneath him. This card doesn't scream with a lot of the traditional symbols. We don't have all of the suits that are typically represented, but we do have that strong sense of creation and will. Our High Priestess is about intuition and listening to the inner voice. You can see this character's eyes are visible through her closed eyelids. An absolutely great representation of that sense of knowledge and being able to see beyond what your physical senses allow, as well as this equidistance cross is retained. And we have some beautiful runes and a beautiful sense of her crown chakra and her third eye chakra being activated. Our Empress takes a beautiful approach at being a mother, but her belly is the world. It's a great representation of that sense of nurturing, kind of Mother Earth energy. The Emperor represents authority, structure, and discipline. The ram's horns are retained through that awesome skull on the wall. And then he has Mars behind him, turning into a chair. We have an Ankh representing his power, a chess piece, but I really like him because he seems reclined and calm rather than aggressive. So this is a very positive representation of masculine influence, and I think this is a great drawing. Our Hierophant represents being a teacher or a mentor, in this case, maybe more of a guru. That stair step is a reminder that we're always still climbing to learn more and try to achieve more understanding of life. The Lovers, great representation of passion and energy. I also like how we have this little Cupid's bow because the characters were, shot by Cupid. So that's a really cute addition. The Chariot goes back to that older idea of a chariot where we have actual horses running and the characters on top. One thing I don't love about this is the character doesn't seem to be in charge of the horses, so it looks a little bit wild, but I love the movement that's happening. Strength represents resiliency and knowing that you can rely on yourself. And so here a woman is paired with a lion and she has a lamb by her. A really great balance of symbols, and the heart is still there to represent that at the core this is done with love, not a desire to dominate or overpower others. Our Hermit is about being able to go your own path. And here we have somebody who's in solitude, but certainly with the sense of peace. This looks like a retreat rather than a recluse. And I love that the light is still here, but we really see a light that's coming from the character rather than her relying on a lamp. The World is about trusting things as they come, surrendering to the things you can't control. She has the dice around her neck and she really seems like she's free and trying to balance on top of all of these wheels that are turning. I like this card. It works. I like that they keep some of the same traditional symbolism here with the tarot and the Torah, but she doesn't seem that stable, but at least she seems peaceful. Justice is about doing what's right, even if it's not always fun. In this case, we see a great duality between who she is on top, who she is on bottom, and I like this idea that you're going to have two sides to any argument, two sides to any decision, and with that sword in the middle, it's like she can really weigh what the right thing is to do. Our Hanged Man is about being patient, letting things happen in the time they need to. A representation of her being hanging from a yoga silk is excellent because it does give us a greater sense of peace than the old traditional person being hanged by their ankle, which was a position that traders would have to be in. So this is a lot more comfortable if we're going to have to be in a place for a while and make it feel comfortable for us. This is a really good representation of that. Death is renamed to Death Rebirth. Inside this character's hooded cloak is the night sky. It does give us a sense of vastness and infinity within. It's not nearly as scary as other death cards can be. So I like it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Temperance is about healing, finding a nice balance, walking the middle path. This character has that angelic quality, which pulls back to the sense of healing. And then with these two different planets, I think it's the sun and the moon actually, you have the sense of balance there, the character being in the middle and finding their own equilibrium. The Devil card represents indulgence, listening to your body, listening to your desires. We have strings around his finger, and it's like he's a marionette controlling this person down here. Or he's a puppet master, and this is the marionette, the doll. But either way, it's interesting because the character is kind of inviting, kind of reaching out, but also controlling somebody. So an interesting representation of the card for sure. Our Tower represents going through a structural shift or change. Lightning is striking a tree and all these creatures are looking at it. We also see these elements disapparating. They're starting to turn into these particles and disappear. Kind of a reminder that nothing is meant to stay the same forever. So while death is that identity shift, this is more of a structural shift in the world around us. The Star is a representation of renewal, understanding who you are, being authentic to yourself, and knowing how to renew your energy when it's starting to drop. Here, this woman has a string that's connected to the star. It's really gorgeous. I love that, and I love the colors here. The Moon. This is a card about going on an inner journey, learning about yourself. Here we have two wolves up on the shore. Typically it's a dog and a wolf, but we still get a sense of duality because they're two different colors. And the character is underwater, which is a great representation of the subconscious. Oftentimes we see things rising out of the water, symbolizing a rise out of the subconscious for this card. This one feels a little bit different, like going down into the depths of your subconscious. Our Sun is about being bold and exuberant and loud and expansive. The character's body language communicates that. She has awesome flow in her hair and in her skirt, and then the sun is positively radiant. It's interesting here how the character is really the woman, the sun is in the background, whereas in other cards you'll see the sun with a face on it. So this is easier, I think, for people to connect to because they can identify with the human character more so than the celestial body. Judgment is a card about ascending to your higher self. This representation is a game changer for a lot of people because it's it's easier to understand than the traditional representation of Judgment Day with coffins on water and an angel. The character's spirit, soul, self is rising up, and it feels like she's truly ascending to the next version of who she needs to be. And lastly, our World card represents coming full circle. This is an Ouroboros-like circle. I'm not sure about these ties on it. We have sacred geometry surrounding the character, and she's walking forward, and you can see that sense of happiness and joy. And so it does give us that sense of completion and wholeness. Next up, let's look at our Wands cards. The Ace of Wands is a card about having a spark of inspiration or creativity. To have that spark starting in the character's mind is fabulous, especially with her eyes closed. Because sometimes it's in those moments when you're not paying attention to something that you get, the best idea. It's like the shower thoughts. Suddenly your brain just fires up and gives you an answer or an idea that gets you excited and you want to put it into practice. The Two of Wands is about patience and planning. The character is wistfully looking out the window. She has a globe near her and she's thinking about traveling. This is that reminder to plan what you're going to do next. I have no idea what these sticks are, but I'm sure there is a story here on why these wands look like that. Our Three of Wands is about collaboration and networking. The only thing that's missing in this card is that there's no one else out there to collaborate and network with and connect to. So I think the creator had a slightly different, more nuanced meaning to this card. But she's a surfer who I guess is ready to go out into the waves. It just doesn't really align with traditional meanings of the deck. So that's kind of a bizarre choice, but it's a gorgeous card. Our Four of Wands is about celebration, celebrating the firm foundations that you have. I love this joyous dancing that's happening. The movement in these cards is gorgeous, and you can see they're celebrating, this foundation of their friendship, their relationship, their community. Well done. Our Five of Wands is about experiencing some conflict, a tangle, maybe some drama. But what I love about this representation is that even though these people are going through a challenge, it really feels like they're striving to improve themselves. They're not keeping each other down, except maybe that guy is trying to get up here by pulling him down. But everyone's trying to climb, and maybe they end up helping each other. I like the progress we see in this card, rather than a traditional sense of people fighting in a way that keeps them stagnant. The Six of Wands represents feeling successful. The Six of Wands represents knowing what you define as success. And the character has this wreath, a traditional symbol of victory, and she's taking in applause on stage. I think that's a really, really good modern representation of this. The Seven of Wands is about standing your ground. Here, I've always thought it seemed like she was inside a crystal ball, but she's just sitting on a cushion, and I think she's kind of in her own world. So it might be about her really owning that space, especially if it's more internal, which is where that light is glowing from, that sacral chakra. Our Eight of Wands is traditionally about moving forward. We do get that sense with this amazing light that's at the tip of each wand. It feels like it's on fire. It's moving so fast, like a meteor in space. So I love the movement here. Our Nine of Wands is a card about a woman, our Nine of Wands is often a card about re-strategizing one's energy. Here, this character is standing behind a fence that wouldn't really keep people out. I'm not exactly sure why this fence is so incomplete. And she doesn't seem too tired. So I'm not exactly sure what this modern representation is trying to share, but that's traditionally how I would interpret it. So this card kind of has its own unique nuances here that I think you can definitely add your interpretations of. The Ten of Wands is a character that's on a journey. She's pretty burdened, but she has some help. She's on a long walk, we can see, but it still looks like she's just kind of getting started. She doesn't look super uncomfortable. So that is our Ten of Wands. Moving into the Court cards, the Page it looks like she's learning how to twirl staff. So she's dancing, she's jumping, she's trying something new. I love this representation of her. Over to our Knight, this character is in the moment, playing music. We see a beautiful horse in the background, lots of energy here. The card typically represents being flamboyant, being loud, showing off. Coming over to the Queen of Wands, we keep this beautiful fire energy with all of these candles, and she has a spark in the palm of her hand that she's celebrating, and she still has this black cat around her, which represents her being our witchy sister. This is a really, really gorgeous representation. Lots of warmth, lots of energy, really vivacious. And our King of Wands retains some cool symbolism with that salamander. We also have the lion in the background. A sense of control of this fire. And so our King of Wands is a leader who can really inspire and motivate other people. I think that's shown here pretty well. Moving on to the Cups. Our Ace of Cups is about emotional fulfillment. So this character shows us her heart, and we see all of this energy and this movement happening there. But we also have this aspect of water flowing in. So it's a reminder of the flow of our emotions and an encouragement to get what you need emotionally. Our Two of Cups is about a relationship that's a nice slow burn. I love all these colors that we get as a result of two people's union. I think when you are in love, when you do have a great relationship, life seems more colorful. And you really see that in this drawing. Our Three of Cups shows women who are kind of putting their arms around each other, looking up at the sky, at the stars. It's a beautiful element of sisterhood, beautiful connection here. And this card represents celebrating with your friends, especially in those moments that feel more spontaneous rather than the planned Four of Wands celebrations. Our Four of Cups is a character that doesn't exactly know what she wants here. This character is offering her something great, but she's not seeing it. I think this is working with one of the traditional images of the card or traditional meanings. And so she might be not able to see this cool opportunity that's here for her. Maybe a reminder to be more open-minded to things coming your way. The Five of Cups is a card about grief. It seems like this bowl is pouring down into this hole. She's sending her energy down, but she has this cup, this bowl over here that's full of something colorful and bright. She could choose to celebrate that, have that if she wants. This definitely feels pretty lonely for a Five of Cups card, but it's also very relatable. The Six of Cups represents your inner child, nostalgia, and memories. They go really hard into the memories and nostalgia component here. The Seven of Cups is about trying to choose what the right option is for you. Here the characters moving between these different bowls, trying to figure out which one they like, what's going to help them, climb a ladder, what is dangerous, what is an illusion. This is just about choosing what's real, what's not real. Our Eight of Cups represents the Buddhist principle of non-attachment, walking away from something you don't need anymore. So she's leaving this bowl in the water and she's walking towards the light in the distance. The Nine of Cups is traditionally about contentment. We have way more energy here than just contentment. This truly feels like a celebration of the aspects of emotional connection that you have in life, the things that are making you happy. Maybe an encouragement to really celebrate them. And our 10 of Cups is a family wrapped up in a rainbow, but I like that it kind of looks like a hammock or a blanket. And then we have all these colorful cups in the air and this symbol that I see on music sheets. So I think a sense of harmony when everything is coming together and you feel like, you can make music with all the components of your life. Moving into our court cards, the Page of Cups is typically a very playful and imaginative character, even a bit goofy. So here we have maybe this belief that he can fly the way pigs fly, but maybe a character that can truly believe the impossible with a strong sense of imagination. Our Knight of Cups is typically the hopeless romantic of the deck, a reminder to let your heart dream, treat yourself in a way that feels lovey-dovey, romantic, fairy tale-like, and enjoy that. Our Queen of Cups is about using your emotional intelligence to channel your emotions into artwork or to really understand and be empathic to the people around you. Here she's underwater, but she seems so comfortable with this position. And I love this representation of the King of Cups. This is a leader who's very emotionally intelligent and can teach other people how to manage their emotions. And so here he's in the water, but he has this crown made out of a water droplet, and you have a light from behind his head. And then we have this boat on the water, which represents smooth, serene sailing, even though sometimes emotions can really rock the boat. Before we keep going, please take a second to like and subscribe so that I can give you more cool content like this. Let's continue on now with our Suit of Swords. Our Ace of Swords is a gorgeous card about having a brilliant idea and being able to prioritize things going on in life and also cut through confusion with a sense of clarity. Here we have that sense of sharpness coming out of her mind, and we see it as this, again, sacred geometry, this beautiful golden ratio that's being portrayed in her head. The Two of Swords is about having some time within yourself to tune into what you feel is the right thing to do. It's about listening to your gut instinct and not letting other people pull you around. Here we have these ravens pulling these strings or pulling her hair, and I love that she's able to kind of tune into herself here, even though there's chaos happening around her. The Three of Swords is about experiencing anguish or heartache. It's a pretty intense card when we see it. I love that the swords are actually portrayed down here on her arm, but that we can see how her heart is being pulled apart. Oh man, this is such an emotive, powerful image. Our Four of Swords is about rest and recovery. She's curled up in a gorgeous nest, and she has this heart, and you can see it's been mended, and the red string is kind of around her, so she's healing as she rests. It's an interesting continuation of a story from the Three of Swords. The Five of Swords is about experiencing conflict, but in this case, it's typically about saying what you need to say, speaking your truth, even if other people disagree. Here, it feels like this person and that person had a disagreement. They went on to have success. This person is feeling put down or put to the side. It's a different representation of this card, to be sure. I think it's a more challenging place to be because you're not really getting what you want. Traditionally, this card can represent having a Pyrrhic victory, where when we stand up for ourselves, sometimes we succeed at standing up for ourselves, but we also lose a lot in the process, so it doesn't feel like a win. This portrays that well. Our Six of Swords is a card about moving from a hard time to an easier time. The character is being pulled on her boat with these ravens, And I like that she's finally coming to shore. It feels a little more, I feel more relief when I look at this. It's like, oh, she made it. It's been tough, but she's made it. Great representation. The Seven of Swords represents typically hiding who you are, hiding what you're thinking. And this is not always done with malicious intent. Here, the character looks like they are a thief in the night, stealing these feathers from the ravens. But really, this character is a representation of how we need to be less transparent sometimes. We don't need to tell everyone everything about us. And it could actually be like safer to not do so. So this is a reminder to just keep things to yourself, get in and out of a situation if you need to. I wouldn't interpret this as being too manipulative or, thieving, even though that's definitely what that image does look like. Think about the importance of keeping secrets if there's a surprise party coming up. So just, when this card comes up, figure out, is secrecy, is privacy being used in a positive way, or is it having a negative impact? The Eight of Swords is a cool representation because there's a reflection that shows us the truth, whereas the character in real life she looks like she's normal, but we can see in the water how she's truly feeling inside. Tied up, stuck, immobilized. Great representation here. Our Nine of Swords is the card of sleepless nights. We see an outline of a bed frame and a pillow down here, but she's up experiencing a mind that's just racing 1,000 miles a minute, and all these birds represent those thoughts floating around in her head. So definitely a great representation of the anxiety that we can feel at times that keep us up at night. And lastly, our Ten of Swords traditionally is about being overwhelmed and hitting rock bottom. Here, this is a character who seems to be moving on from the rock bottom and is moving towards sunlight. I don't think there's a really strong story in this representation, certainly not compared to traditional representations, but it definitely is beautiful. Diving into the court cards, our page is nimble. She's carrying all these light bulbs that are light as air, and she's reading a book as she goes. Very studious, very mentally agile, very light on her feet, which is a great metaphor for our minds, like being able to adapt and change as plans change. Our Knight of Swords is moving pretty fast. The character is ready to go grab that bike, ready to go do what they got to do. So you get a great athletic energy from this card. Hold on to that Knight of Swords spontaneity. Our Queen of Swords still just shows us one side of herself, has locked up this cup representing the heart because she really leans more into the head, makes decisions logically, does not show people her emotions. The King of Swords is on top of a mountain, and we can see this beautiful landscape behind him, but where he sits, there are flowers growing. This seems like a well-balanced King of Swords. He's wise like this owl. He can see a lot. He has a good vantage point, and he can make decisions that really help to move a plan forward. So this character is usually good at strategy, organization, and delegation. Let's look at our Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles is about planting a seed and just getting something started in the material world. The roots growing out of this pentacle are gorgeous. The Two of Pentacles is about multitasking, having multiple things moving at one time. Here she has, I think, purses that are swinging around her. It works if you understand the traditional meaning of the card, but this isn't something you'd see in everyday life, so it is kind of odd when you first notice the image, but the colors are fantastic. The Three of Pentacles is traditionally about recognition and reward, but in this deck, it represents teamwork. So this is the meaning I would traditionally associate with the Three of Wands, and it just happens to be in the Three of Pentacles instead. Our Four of Pentacles is a character that is feeling like she doesn't have enough. So she's kind of holding her purse close to her with all those pentacles in there. This can be a reminder to let things flow. Money is round, so it can keep on rolling, right? Keep a nice flow happening in life. The Five of Pentacles is about feeling locked out, feeling like an outsider. We have a key here, though. Typically, we don't see this representation. Usually, the character truly is locked out. It seems like in this image, the message is to say, maybe there is a way to get in. Normally, I'd recommend this character go create her own thing and then be the beacon that other outsiders are drawn to. Here, it seems like don't let yourself feel dejected. Maybe there truly is a way to connect and get where you want to go if you just look up. The Six of Pentacles is about exchange. I love that figure 8. I think that is a very important symbol here. It's not in a lot of traditional representations, so that's a smart addition. And the different sizes of pentacles and the different colors reminds us that exchanges can happen in the physical world with energy, with favors. It's a very beautiful card about a give and a take. And it's very abstract, but I think this is a really good representation. The Seven of Pentacles is about taking your time and looking at what you've grown. Traditionally, it could be a choice point where you decide, do you replicate what you did last season and invest the same amount of energy, or do you change your plan? Here, it seems like a reminder that it takes a while for things to grow. And so I guess appreciate what you've invested and continue to pour that energy in to like keep the momentum going. The Eight of Pentacles is a card about being an apprentice. It's about learning new things, trying new things, and investing the time that it takes to get better at what you're working on. Our Nine of Pentacles is about a single independent female. I like to think of this as female, of a feminism, I guess, in a way. Here the character is celebrating what she has. This bird traditionally represents having a handle on the world around you. And so without the hood on, it just seems like this bird is Disney princess-like, hanging out with this character the way a animal would in Disney. And our Ten of Pentacles is about having a family tree. So we still see our Kabbalistic tree here, but we also see a lot more people linking hands, having fun and playing. We don't seem to have the same number of generations portrayed here as we do in other cards. Sometimes this represents intergenerational guidance, but we definitely have a sense of community, connection, and different ages. So family tree energy. Coming into the court cards, our Page of Pentacles is typically about learning a new skill in the material world, like a skill that could pay off. This character is balancing on one foot and rooting down and kind of getting sorted. Maybe sorted isn't the right word, but this character is figuring out where they belong and how they can put their roots down. So I think there's that element of figuring things out here, even though it's a little more abstract. Our Knight of Pentacles is typically a character that's very reliable. I consider this to be somebody who, if you give them time, they will show you what they can do. The Queen of Pentacles is the queen of self-care. She very much takes care of herself and the people around her through hands-on, tangible deeds. She seems so comfortable here with her eyes being closed. She seems like she's in a space of peace and she's happy where she is and content. And I love these branches coming out of her head wrap because she's like one with nature. Ooh. And then lastly, our King of Pentacles, a man who is sitting in his own library with a wolf next to him. He looks very happy. And I like his chair, honestly, because he looks like a teenager that happens to be an old guy. So a sense of comfort, a sense of abundance, joy that he's achieved what he wanted to in life. And I think with this age, we have the sense that he can take care of others around him through material resources and with everything he's accumulated over his years of experience. So that is the Light Seers Tarot. Hope you enjoyed looking at all 78 cards. And please give us a like and a follow if you want more cool tarot content like this. Don't forget to follow me on socials to stay in touch, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.